Hi, everybody. We got cut off. Sorry about that. This is going to be part two. I'm still here with Ramon Almonte, and he was just telling us about his time in Japan. So if you want to pick us up where we left off.
Yeah, so earlier you were asking me how did I get into writing these books, and um, I was talking about a book that I read called The Alchemist, and that book
Mhm.
gave me the desire to just go and see what happens. And I had $800 in my pocket, and I bought the ticket, went to Japan, found a person who rented me like a little loft above their kitchen, and the next day found a job illegally washing dishes, and that's what I did for 3 months and lived there. And when I got back, I had this really strong desire to write, and then that's where the writing started. But I didn't pick up the writing till 2006 is when I really, excuse me, started really focusing on writing and trying to finish the first book, which is Scratching the Cosmic Conscience, which took me 6 years because of doubts. And as I said earlier, at one point I had given up. So, but after that, once I published the first book, the second book, I saw how much easier it was, and really how much of my own doubts and fears were the ones that were stopping me. That's why when people tell me now, oh, I would like to write a book, I always tell them, discipline over motivation, because you're not always going to feel like writing. There's going to be many days where you have nothing. But um, I forgot this author's name. He passed away already, but his last name is Lamore. And he said, "You can't get water without opening the faucet." So you're not going to get these bright ideas and these great stories coming in if you don't start writing.
You have to create the channel.
Exactly.
Right.
And I personally believe that authors do channel something. What they're
Uh,
channeling could be different for every author, but 100%.
Absolutely. You guys are definitely channeling something. Absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. How long were you in Japan for? How long did you stay in Japan?
The first time, that time that I was talking about, I was there for 3 months. Then the second time I went back to study Japanese and was there for another 3 months. That was in 2005. And the third time I went in 2010 and was there for 12 years, uh, teaching English, which surprised me.
2010 for 12 years. So you just kind of like it just came back from Japan.
Not so
Uh,
long ago. Yeah, I've been back for almost 3 years.
Where are you based out of? What state? Are you in the States or are you in Dominican?
Oh no, no, I'm back. I'm in Florida now.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you are
Yeah,
Dominican, right?
yeah.
Oh, that's where you're from. Were you born there and you came here, or were you born in the US?
I was born in New York, and
Right,
my
right. Okay.
my parents have migrated in the '70s to New York City.
Okay. So
Um,
your parents were the ones who made the move.
yes,
Okay.
that time.
Okay. Do you have family still in the Dominican?
In Dominican Republic. I have cousins, stuff like that. Most of my family is here now in the states. So, but I still do have. I think I have a few uncles there. Haven't went back in since 1999. Because every time I have a chance to travel, I want to go somewhere I haven't been before. Because
Right.
growing up, I every summer my parents would take me to Dominican Republic, and I'm really happy they did that because that really helped my Spanish develop.
Mm.
So where I really develop a very bilingual kind of language, where I can flip back and forth. Um, some things obviously are easier in English when it comes to like sci-fi, especially. I can't do that in Spanish. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm actually like kind of envious of people who are bilingual. It's like something that I know I could do, I could figure out, but it would take time and effort that I'm not willing to contribute to that right now. But so it's something that I'm always like in awe when somebody can speak more than one language because it's such a different way to use your brain and your words. And it's something that I would like to conquer before I die
yeah,
in
you're
this life.
you're. It also changes your character.
It
Um, I
does.
I also
Yeah.
speak Japanese, and
Oh,
um,
yeah,
my
yeah, because you
character is
live there.
very
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my character is very different when I speak Japanese. So, it every time you're learning a new language, you have to keep in mind that you want to learn language as the same way you learn your language, whatever your original language is. You have to learn it the same way you're learning your second, third, fourth, fifth language, which is you have to remember that you're not going to sit there with a toddler to teach him grammar. It's the dumbest thing I see in education, that they want to teach these languages by teaching grammar first. And that's not what you do with a toddler. You teach him words, cup,
Right, like
right?
apple. Right, right, right.
Apple,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you teach them how to pronounce things and how to pronounce it correctly and how to ask for things. And they start developing it and they start talking more and more. Um, with my son, he's of course he speaks English, but then he speaks Japanese is his second strongest, and Spanish is his third strongest. Um, and I speak to him only in Spanish. His mother only speaks to him in Japanese, and then he speaks English in school. So it's the same kind of idea. I'm not gonna sit there and practice grammar with him. The
Right,
different
right,
verbiages
right,
and stuff.
right. Can you speak Japanese like fluently?
Pretty fluent. What I
Really?
cannot do is I'm not. I cannot. I'm not technical, and I do make a lot of grammatical mistakes. But
Oh,
unlike most people, I don't care about making the grammatical mistakes. People want to laugh, they laugh. I mean, people are
oh,
gonna
I'm
laugh at
sure
you.
people don't laugh at you. I'm sure, right? Or have you ever had Japanese
Uh,
people
oh
laugh at
yeah,
you?
oh yeah.
Isn't it considered Mandarin, not Japanese, the language, like the technical name of the language? Because I used to work with Chinese people and they spoke Mandarin.
Yeah, so Japanese, and when it comes to speaking, Japanese is more similar to Portuguese and Spanish than it is to Chinese. Where
Oh,
Chinese,
Chinese
and
is Mandarin, though, right?
yeah,
Technically,
that's one. There's also Cantonese, and
right?
then
Cantonese, yeah,
there's
yeah.
another there's another one that's not as popular. Um, where they are similar is in the writing. So the Japanese use the Chinese characters in order to write, but speaking wise is completely different. It's night and day different. So they use the the phonetics and the way they sound is more like Spanish or Portuguese than it is with Chinese. You have five different ways of pronouncing one sound,
Right,
uh,
right, yeah,
but
yes.
Japanese, it has a little bit, and so does Spanish, and so does English, but not as much. So there's a lot of words that they copied from the Portuguese, and that's where
Hmm.
a very good one is tempura.
What's
Tempura, it comes from Portuguese. If
oh,
you think in English temperature, in Spanish temperatura, that's where the word comes from.
how do
Um,
you say temperature in Japanese?
it's different, but when they're cooking the tempura, like the fried shrimp,
Oh, tempura. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that's where it
yeah.
comes from, the word, because that was brought from the Dutch. So the word for bread in Spanish is pan. The word for bread in Japanese is pan. So that's
Oh,
why you hear the
oh.
word panko, like
Panko
a lot.
breadcrumbs, like hang.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, the ko comes from flour, and then pan, which is the same as Spanish. So
So, so would you suggest to somebody that they learn Japanese before they tried to learn Mandarin or Cantonese because of how it's relatable to Spanish? Like it's a good beginner language if you want to learn a type of
I
language
would
like
say,
that.
well, that depends what you really want to learn. If you're very deep into wanting to learn Japanese, then obviously practice that. If you really want to learn Chinese, then practice that. Um, what you should do is start just at the same place that a toddler starts. Watching those kid shows, reading those kids
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Um, the guys I know in Japan that can read novels and you know, know a high level of Japanese, sometimes even higher than the average Japanese person. They all started from reading kids' books. And then as they understood and got faster at reading, they moved up the level. The same as you do in
Just like
English.
kids do. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like
So
you do, just like it's done
yeah.
basically. Yeah. Interesting.
So but it takes time. You're not gonna learn it in a week. You can learn it, be fluent in 6 months. I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it in English, for English, German, and Japanese, where they learned in 6 months. But they spend most of their day reading.
Right. Right.
So if you spend most of your day reading and writing down the words you don't know, and the most important part is separating the languages. So in the beginning, you're going to be very heavy on English, obviously, or whatever your native language is when you're learning a new one. But later on, you have to completely cut off your your mother language, because what you want to develop is the brain to think and speak and listen in that language. So, and the thinking part, because the biggest mistake when I was teaching English, the biggest mistake I saw so many people make is that they would hear something, translate it in their head, then think of the answer, retranslate it, and then speak. And you will never develop fluency by doing that, because that's not what kids do. Kids hear what you're saying, repeat what you're saying, memorize it, and sometimes learn words. Most of them learn words from emotions. That's why the first thing you'll learn is curses, because it's very emotional, and it's like, no, you can't say that.
Right. So I have like a voice in my mind, my thinking voice that talks to me, my ego. So you're saying in order for me to be fluent in a different language,
You want to
those
develop that
those
in that
thoughts
language.
those thoughts would have to be in that language.
Exactly.
That's like
That's why they say that,
incredibly pivotal in teaching somebody how to speak another language and to be fluent at it, because anybody can like stop and think, while they're learning, they can stop and think, okay, well, this word goes into this word, so I'll say this word. But to
yeah,
be fluent, you have to actually have your thoughts in that language, the
yeah,
words
because
of your thoughts in that language.
you're not sitting there and you're not sitting there and thinking what verb is the correct verb to use, where the subject goes, where the adjective. You're not thinking of any of that. You just say it, and it sounds right to
Right.
you.
Right.
So you have to
Right.
develop that with any language.
Right.
Doesn't matter what
Interesting.
language we're talking about. You have to develop that, because there's certain phonetics and pronunciations and nuances that we use that you have to um, learn, but learn in more of a what's the word, like a like muscle learning
Oh,
almost.
muscle memory.
Yeah,
Muscle
muscle.
memory.
So
Muscle memory.
it's
Yeah.
not really muscle memory, but kind of language memory, I'm going to call it, where you would, if I said something incorrectly, you would say, no, that's not the way you say it. But you
Right.
wouldn't be able to tell me what laws I broke, what grammatical rules I broke. You just know it's wrong. And
Right.
that's the same thing you have to develop with any language you want to learn. That's why uh, probably the best people, if you want to learn a new language, the best people to study would be somebody like a polyglot, and that's a person who could speak more than four languages. And then some of these guys and girls are speaking 18 to 24 languages, and they're fluent in all of them, and they pass the test on the majority of them. And some of them speak dead languages or languages only spoken by small tribes. So it's, of course, your brain is elastic. And from the beginning, tying it back to what we were talking about in the earlier part of this interview, was that anything you go after, you can achieve. It's not easy at first, but if you do it consistently, the thing is consistency. Stay consistent with whatever you want to do. If you're not
Consistency. Absolutely. You
consistent,
have to practice. Practice makes perfect.
yeah,
I
and
fully believe in that.
if you're not consistent, you're not going to develop whatever it is you're trying to develop.
Right. Um,
And if,
have you ever made any of your characters in any of your books like speak Japanese or Spanish based on your knowledge of it? Have you ever created any Japanese or Spanish?
yeah, so with Spanish, I've done that a lot more. Of course, my character, like especially one character named both my main character for Fogs of Time, Maria,
She's
she uses
Hispanic.
a
Yeah.
lot of Spanglish,
Oh,
and
okay. Okay.
then also another character from the series, she also uses Spanglish. And with Japanese, there is one character named Khan. He's not a main character, but I'll use Japanese with him. um, to speak, and it's more um, with him. I use more the way someone who doesn't speak English, a Japanese person doesn't speak English, would pronounce English words. So I'll use the phonetics from that.
Oh, phonetics is how you put it on the paper so people know how to say it, so they know what you're
Yeah, like
intending
for
on.
example, um, like your name Lindsay. That's the English pronunciation, but the way a Japanese person will pronounce it would be Lindsay. So it's like longer, um, different. So I do that a lot in the book as well.
So, do consonants have anything to do with their how they pronounce things? Because you
They
seem to like
don't.
pause on
They
the consonants in my name.
they don't have any ending consonants in their language. They and always end in vowels for the exception of N. The letter N is the
Oh,
only letter that they will end um,
oh,
in the consonant. Where in English we don't do that.
right,
But
right.
Spanish Spanish has a little more consonants at the ending, but they also have a tendency not to do that too as well.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have a couple questions just about your time as an author, and then we'll wrap it up. How many books total have you written?
So in total, I've written seven, and right now I'm writing book eight, and I'm also working on a nonfiction book, which is the memoir of this whole 50 state book tour, the up and downs, and that one. Um, it's a funny story the way that my business manager was like, "You should write a book about this." And then in his dream, he was having a dream, and somebody came to him and told him, "Oh, I have a title for it," and they're laughing, and he was like, "What's the title?" He said, "Are you a local author?" And that's going to be the name of the memoir. It's
Oh,
called,
okay.
or, yeah.
Okay. So you have the 6 books that you wrote that was in the series, and then you have Fogs of Time.
No, so
Uh,
from the series, I have five books out. Then I have one standalone called "Scratching the Cosmic Conscience," and then "Fogs of Time," which is the latest one that came out in January.
what was your favorite book to write, or which story do you enjoy the most?
I've enjoyed them all, but of course the oldest, which is "Scratching the Cosmic Conscience," is the most important one because without that one, none of the others would exist. And of
Right.
course, the baby, um, which is "Fogs of Time," because it's the one I'm promoting. And between those two, the key thing that I noticed the most is the growth and the difference between who I was when I wrote the first book and who I am now after finishing "Fogs of Time." So, the seeing how much I've changed and how some things have become so much easier, and how most important, I don't let a lot of things bother me that used to bother me. Oh, this story is terrible, it's not good, like those
Oh,
doubts of,
being
yeah,
too
whatever.
critical of yourself.
Yeah, so it's easier for me to push that to the side, say, yeah, whatever, I'll fix
Hmm.
it later.
Hmm. Is this
Yeah.
the first book tour for any of your books you've ever done? Like
Yes.
official book tour?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what makes it a big deal, because again, I was waiting for something to happen to put this book that tour together. And I hear a lot of authors say that, and a lot of authors will say that, Barnes and Noble put this together for me. It's like, no, they didn't. They did not. Um, there's a lot of managers that have been very supportive, absolutely, but no one put this together for us. Like I put this,
Right. Right. You did all.
me and
You've
my
done all the
business
work.
manager. Yes.
Right. So do you have a publisher? Doesn't the publisher usually do all of the book tour uh
Yes.
arrangements? Do you have a publisher?
Yes, I do, and he's me.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, so the publisher is responsible for like basically everything besides like the edit. Do you have an editor? Are you the editor too? Are you like
No,
a
no, no. I hire. I contract that. I hire an editor to do the editing. That's one thing I would warn any author from doing. Do not do your. I mean, yes, do your own editing for the second draft and the third draft, but always hire an editor to do the finishing drafts.
A second set of eyes. Yeah, it's huge.
Yes,
I always catch stuff the second time I read something. Yeah.
it's really
And
important.
sometimes I ask myself, like, I swear that wasn't that way. Like the first time I
Yep,
read it, like, where the hell did that come from? Because it's
it
literally
sounded
like you
fine to
don't
me.
see it.
Yeah,
Right, right. It's insane how that happens. Yeah.
yeah, because
So
what your brain will do is your brain will fix things, um, and you make it sound the correct way, but you don't notice. That's why the second set of eyes, someone
right,
to
right.
see it, and someone who's a professional at this. But yeah, I basically created my own company, which is RM Almonte Publishing, and then published the book through there. So I did everything a publisher would do, which is different. People think indie, um, like an indie author, which is different. 20 years ago, that was an indie author, but
Okay.
nowadays, because of Amazon and Ingram Sparks, they do print on demand. That's considered more indie. So I'm like right in the middle between traditionally published and self-published, right in the middle.
Okay. And so, do you have a family? Is your family supportive of your journeys? Do you have
My wife and
what's
son
your team
definitely are.
like? You have a team. What's your team like?
Right now, like as far as like the in the publishing world, I have my business manager who helps me a lot, and then I have a distributor that distributes my book, and then the printer, the person who prints the book.
Do you
So
have any merch? Do you have any merchandise?
not at the moment.
Hmm.
I will work on that later, but right now all the focus is going on the tour and getting out
Yeah,
there, getting
yeah.
there.
I could give you advice on how to set up a merchandise, like an e-commerce setup.
Yeah, I used to have that, and I've seen a lot of different ways to do it. I just don't really have the time at the moment
Right,
to like
right.
focus on that. Right now, the main focus is putting the book out
The
there
book.
and having enough eyes see it.
So, explain to me the process of like being somebody who's doing a book tour. Do you like take a bunch of books with you to the Barnes and Noble and they put it on the shelves, or give me a little bit like behind the scenes of like how it works? Like what
Yeah, so
you just have like books like stacked everywhere at your house, like extra books.
I do have that too, but the distributor has the majority of the books I printed.
Distributor, yes. Okay, so they're printed and sent to the distributor.
Yeah. So what I do is I call up the Barnes and Nobles, let them know that I want to do a book signing. If they agree to it, then they'll ask me if the book is returnable. That's a big one for most of these stores, and that's what will stop them from ordering your books. So that's where it's become more popular to do consignment, and I'll go into that in a second. So what they'll do is they'll order the books, and it'll be there at the store, and I just show up and do the signing. And whatever doesn't sell, they'll either hold on to it for a little while, see if it sells on its own, or if not, they'll return it back to the distributor. Um, the other way, if you're, this is where it becomes very different between the indie and traditionally published, is that with indie, your book are not returnable. So that means you have to buy them yourself, bring them to the store on consignment, and whatever you sell, they pay you for it, and they take a percentage, and then they take the rest, and then you bring the rest back with you. They don't hold on to the books.
So that's the difference between being indie and that's just what it is. You can't do it any differently. So if you're indie, you have to do it on a consignment basis. Oh, my
If
screen
you're going,
up
if you're
again.
going, yeah,
My
if you're
screen
going
just
through the
messed again.
traditional publisher, then I mean, if you're going through, sorry, like Amazon or Ingram Sparks, then you have to do it that way. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. We've been here an hour anyways. I'm not sure. I can't get this. I can't get this process to like recreate in any way. I can't recreate it to know what's causing it. Like it just
Yeah.
sporadically
It's
happens. So it's something I'm going to have to figure out. But I'm sorry about this.
no worries.
I'll post
It's
part
the
one and part
gremlins.
two. I'll post both parts with a description for each. Maybe it'll be better because it's broken up. People would rather watch 30 minutes than an hour sometimes.
Yeah.
So it'll be for the best anyways. But I appreciate you being here with me today, Ramon, and thank you so much. I'm going to end this recording.